Proportional Response, Book 1, Chapter 23, Part 2, Sword of Damocles. Becral tried to remember when Exultan had claimed the humans as wards, but dismissed the thought from his mind. Concentrate on the moment, on the camera and the principles. Think later. He spun his left eye clockwise, causing the camera focused on Quintar to zoom in a bit. He wanted to capture every nuance of the madwoman's expression. Just who does she think she is fooling? Humans seem to understand that they can win this fight, and are convincing the rest of us. Quintar interrupted his thoughts as she continued.
So I tell you, human, stand down. Surrender your little vessel and we will have mercy on your crew. Your life is forfeit. Of course, you don't get to demand the entire Republic.
The human admiral spoke with a quiet, hard tone that somehow stopped Quintar's words.
Enough, Quintar. You are apparently unable and unwilling to learn, so we will teach you an object lesson today. Humans do not make idle threats, and do not deliver demands we cannot enforce. Comms, I want a split display. Bring that Zoltan commander back, and then show the best view you can get from our buoys on the bottom half of the holo.
The display adjusted instantly. That was too fast. They had this planned. What are they? The human admiral spoke again.
Zoltan, whoever -U-R, you have been given your chance to survive, and have not taken it. I am not, however, a man without some mercy. Do you have any last words?
The Zoltan admiral made a rude noise.
Last words? You stupid primate. How do you expect?
The human's face hardened in a way that made Becral feel a little weak in the knees. The man then lowered his head slightly and closed his eyes before he spoke, in a voice which managed to be quiet, yet hard as a rock, and carry across the bridge.
All stations, execute Sword of Damocles.
The Exultan commander had continued to rant through the human's words, until an explosion was heard in the background, coming from the Exultan commander's feed. The lizard's shocked face as fire welled up on part of the holo display just before that part of the feed winked out would forever haunt Binial's dreams. The lower half of the holo display showed the entire Dalton force which had been brought to bear, exploding. Most of the smaller ships seemed to go off all at once, blossoming for a brief moment into bright lights, then gone. The larger ships took a little longer. They began to list, then lights could be seen in places they shouldn't be, then they were gone. The largest of the ships took longer to die. They too began to list, then they twisted, bent, or otherwise deformed, and finally separated into 2 or 3 pieces from which bright light and divided by, or what seemed to be fire, spilled out for the briefest moment. Then one of the pieces shattered into tiny shards, while the rest moved away and continued to fracture. Becrel's knees buckled on him, but a strong human arm held him up and a human voice whispered through his headset.
Steady there. You can do this. Just get the recordings, get the reactions, document all of this. Make it count.
Quintar stared at something behind whatever camera was sending her image. Her expression had gone entirely unreadable. She turned back to look at the human admiral and spoke in tones that one might use to discuss afternoon tea.
What have you done?
The admiral lifted his face and displayed a sad countenance. The man spoke with tones mingled with regret and resolve.
We have destroyed your invading force. All of it. Every last ship, and since you removed or sealed the life pods on all of your military vessels, every single man aboard them. We have also destroyed every military ship in space which carried a voter. It was you voters who forced this war, you voters who chose not to surrender, and you voters who chose to set those bombs aboard your ships.
Quintar's eyes glowed a deep red, and Berkel strove to achieve professional detachment as he tightened in on her face. She spoke in venomous tones, nearly spitting her words.
You murdered hundreds of voters. You humans have gone too far this time. We have been treating this as a police action war, trying to take your worlds and hold them, maybe even give your species a chance to survive, but no more. This sort of action against the greatest among the great Dalton will not be tolerated. We will wipe your puny little upstart race not only from existence, but from all memory. After we have killed every last man, woman and child in your space, we will raze your cities to the ground, especially everything on your beloved Earth. No stone will stand, no monument will stand, no history will be left. We will scour every picture, mention, and recording of, or from you, ingrates from the interstellar where, and we will make your kind the stuff of nightmares. Yes. Oh yes. We will destroy you. And your ark ships that you are so proud of, we have already tracked a few. They will have faster ships sent after them, and will be destroyed. Sure, some may stay beyond our reach, but by the time any of those human colonies they set up come in contact with us, we will be ready. Every species in the League will be falling over themselves in wide-eyed terror, pushing resources at the Altons in hopes that we will save them, and save them we will. From this day forward, the Republic is dedicated to one thing above all others, the destruction of you filthy humans. Nothing will stop us, nothing will slow us. If the Council tries to get in our way, we will beat on and subvert them until they fall in line. If we have to work half our population to death and send the other half on suicide missions to kill your kind, then we will. Nothing, and I say again, nothing.
The Xaltan first seat suddenly stopped talking, and her eyes grew wide. They then grew even more red, and Burkle felt himself reflexively swallow as the woman looked at him. Not his camera, but him, and the connection abruptly cut. The Admiral then looked away from the plot in the middle of the flag bridge, and Burkle had to resist an urge to run as the human looked directly at him. Or, more precisely, into his camera. Burkle zoomed in on the Admiral's face as the human paused. When the man continued, the regret seemed stronger in his tone.
People of the Republic, Xaltan non-voters, I speak to you. You have heard what your leaders plan and what they think of you. We have destroyed 2 of your fleets, killing untold numbers of your spacers. We have also destroyed every military vessel which carried a voter, killing so many more. And your first seat spoke only of the few hundred dead voters as people. You have known this, all of you have, for your entire lives. Now, you have heard them speak the truth, in anger. As for how we destroyed all these ships, you have heard rumors that the voters had installed loyalty devices on your military ships. Those rumors are true, and we were able to activate those devices. Understand that, even in this, we acted with what mercy we could. It would have been just as easy for us to destroy your entire military fleet, but we know that so many of your spacers are on those ships against their will. We also did not need to. You heard your own leaders admit that they cannot beat us now, not after we destroyed so many ships. They seem to think they can fight us to a standstill. Yes, but remember that they also claimed they'd have this war over and bring your men home months ago. So, you need to think, to consider. How many voters have you ever known who were anywhere near as smart or capable as they believe themselves to be? How likely do you think their assessment of this war is correct? The Confederated Worlds does not wish to fight you. We have 2 entire worlds of your kind who are integrating, with honor and voting rights, into our Confederation. However, know this, and know it well. We are coming for your voters. So, I plead with you, with all of you, do not stand between us and them.
A single tear fell down from the human Admiral's eye, and then the icon that let Burkle know he was connected to the ship's computer network winked out. A live broadcast. I was broadcasting live that entire time to at least the entire Xaltan Republic, possibly to the entire League. Burkle tried to stoke his anger, to turn his fury on the human at being used as he had been, but the enormity of what he'd been a first-hand witness to finally overwhelmed him. Blackness began to take over his vision as the deck rose to meet him. Gelat sat in her living room and seethed while the rest of the voters of this particular group celebrated. So many of my plans dashed on the rocks, all because that idiot woman wouldn't listen to me. Now it will take so long before we can be rid of those damned humans, and these idiots celebrate because they think I am going to just walk in and seize the first chair. She felt her tail begin to lash and forced herself to be calm and repeated her near mantra to herself. It is fine, though. It is fine. I've played the long game for decades. I can do it for a couple of more years while we fight the humans to a standstill. I will have the seat I want and a compliant council when I get it. One of the others realized that she didn't seem to be celebrating and shook his head ruefully. He then turned to his companions and spoke.
I do believe our fearless leader here may be having second thoughts. Come, Gelat. That idiot has just handed you the first seat, and you sit there angry. I mean, after what she said, you could even challenge her to the pits as a champion of the people. After that, if you play the fight right, you will be able to get half our population to work themselves to death willingly.
Shalat shook her head.
No. There are too many pieces on the board now, and it is all too easy to point all of those pieces straight at the first seat. Despite her rather untimely rant, that idiot woman has bought herself a couple of years in the seat with this stunt. By the hells, her rant is part of the reason we can't unseat her right now. She lost us most of the militarily competent voters we have, and after that round, we can't possibly allow non-voters any high levels of command. Especially with that damned Mendesh character still loose.
She felt her tail twitch and stilled it.
Furthermore, it will take 6 months to change all of the loyalty devices to local detonate only, and at least that long to find enough loyalty officers to place on all of our ships.
She felt her teeth grind as she continued.
So help me, if I ever find out who let a QON tied to the central...
She shook her head to banish the thought. She'd backed the plan to put those bombs on the ships, so no need to dwell there.
That 6 months is the timetable we were going to use to gain space superiority over the humans.
She let out a heavy sigh.
I told that idiot woman not to send 2 fleets after a single ship. I told her it was a trap, but would she listen? No. I had planned to simply unseat her, but so help me, she will hang for that. Now we have lost all hope of destroying the humans in the next 2 generations. We can, however, stop them from coming after us. That is your focus now, making sure that we keep our population between ourselves and those soft-hearted humans, and finding ways to force them to give up their crusade for our blood. Because, make no mistake, it is our blood they are after. People in this room and the rest of the voting class.
She stood.
No, gentlemen, it is time to formulate a new military and a new political plan. One which has me grabbing that seat in a grand spectacle in 2 years' time, after we have proven we can stop the human military and, well, and certain other matters play out. Then, my friends, we will bring both our government and that damnable council to heel. Now, we have a lot to plan, starting with some changes to those whisper campaigns. Let's get to work.